So you want to get started investing in 2021, but you don't know how to do it. Watch the rest of this video and I'll go through 8 simple tips to get started investing in 2021. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt. I'm a 21-year-old uni student who loves talking about anything and everything to do with money, personal finance, and all things uni related. Today we're going to talk about how you can get started investing in 2021 in 8 simple steps. So you may have been watching me, other YouTubers, TikTokers, people on the internet, and you've come to the conclusion that you want to start investing some of your cash into stocks and shares, crypto, other types of things. Today we're going to be talking about how you can actually get started investing into stocks and shares in the UK in 2021. So let's break down these 8 points to starting investing. Point number 1 is probably the most crucial, and this is asking yourself, why are you actually investing? Is it that you want some short-term gains like those on GameStop, or you want to just put it into Tesla because you've heard there's a big hype around Tesla? Is it because you want to build long-term wealth, as in buy stocks and never sell them for companies like Apple who you think are going to constantly grow? Or is it because you want to make an income from it in the way of dividends? For anyone that doesn't know, a dividend is a reward a company gives you for owning shares in that company. So this is really important to understand why you are starting to get investing, because that's going to affect the next stages. Point number 2, after you've realised this, is to think, do you want to actively manage your money or passively manage your money? I.e., would you be happy to do it yourself and pick all your different funds, all your different stocks and check it every few months and things like that? Or would you just let someone else do it in the space of a fund? After you decided that, we're on to point number 3. Point number 3 is to choose a brokerage or an app. There are lots to choose from, all the way from like Hargreaves Lansdown to Vanguard, Trading 212, Freetrade, there's loads. However, I would personally suggest Trading 212, and here's why. If you want the choice later down the line to be able to choose from individual stocks such as Tesla, Google, Apple, but also funds such as, the S&P 500, FTSE, emerging markets, all that kind of stuff, then Trading 212 allows you to do both. Something like Vanguard, I think, only allows you to invest in funds, so not individual stocks. Also, we'll come on to this later, but Trading 212 offers a service called a Pi, where you create your own sort of fund and invest in that. We'll get onto that in a minute. So once you've chosen your brokerage, let's say Trading 212, by the way, if you want a promo code that will both get a free share if you sign up, just drop me a message on Instagram and I'll send you the link. So now we've got Trading 212 downloaded, and this is the most important stage, I think personally, coming up to the new tax year. So if you already have opened a stocks and shares ISA this tax year, so from last April to where we are now, don't open another one, because you're not actually allowed to do that. Instead, what I'd say is to wait until April when the new tax year starts, open a brand new stocks and shares ISA on Trading 212 and invest all your money in that. Why in an ISA? Well, there's another video which I'm going to put here which you can go check about why you should be investing inside of an ISA. Fast forward to April and you've already signed up to Trading 212 and opened a new stocks and shares ISA. The next stage, stage number 5, is to deposit your initial sum of money. So let's say you had some savings sat around in a bank account and you already have your emergency fund set up, so you don't need to keep all of that in the bank. So let's say you take £1,000. Let's call this your initial deposit. So then there's £1,000 in Trading 212, and then we're on to stage 6. Stage 6 is to set up monthly direct debits to Trading 212. The reason behind this is because if you think, oh, I'm going to deposit £100 every month, but then one month you forget, or one month you're a bit low on funds, you won't do it. However, if it's a monthly direct debit that's automatic, you're less likely to go cancel the direct debit. So I would suggest, let's say you've got a full-time job or you've got a bit of spare cash, whatever you've got that you can afford to put away, make that a direct debit. I would suggest about 10% of your income. So if you were earning £1,000 a month after tax, then put £100 into that direct debit to Trading 212. So now we're on to point number 7, which is the most critical part. So we've done all the setup, we've opened our stocks and shares ISA, we've decided why we want to invest, we've deposited the money, set up a monthly payment, and now we've actually got to do the investing part. This bit can seem the most daunting, but it's actually quite fun when you press buy on a share of a company or a fund. Like I said, this part is going to depend on the answers you gave to stage 1 and stage 2. If you're investing for the really short term, which I really wouldn't suggest, then of course you're just going to be going and buying individual stocks such as GameStop, Tesla, and if they go up by like 10% or 20%, you might sell them. Personally, I think it's purely gambling at that point, unless you have some inside knowledge, which again is illegal. So in stage 1, if you answered the question that you want long-term wealth and also some dividends later in life, then here's what I suggest. Again, this isn't financial advice, it's just for information purposes. Please go do your own research before you invest any of your own money, as your capital is at risk. Now, this completely depends on how risky you are as a person. Are you risk averse? Do you like avoiding risk, or are you risk loving? You like risk. If you're risk averse, meaning you try to avoid the losses, then you might put 80 to 90% of your cash in funds such as the S&P 500. This is an index, meaning it's the average of the market. So the S&P 500 is the 500 biggest companies in America. So for all of those companies to go bust and your investment to turn to zero is highly unlikely. Can you imagine Google, Amazon, Apple, and like Tesla all going down to zero? It's just not going to happen. The S&P 500 is averaged a return of about 10% a year for the last 60 years. This doesn't mean that every year it's gone up 10%. One year it might have gone down to like -20, then the next year it's up 40. It completely varies, and this is why you should be investing for the long term, not the short term. If you see something's down 20% in the last year, you might be inclined to sell it, but you just have to trust the process. The indexes, especially like the S&P 500, will grow over time. Now, let's assume you're a more risk-loving person. You want to take a bit of a gamble. So maybe then you'd put, I don't know, 50, 60% into funds and the rest into individual stocks of your choosing. Like you might want to put 10% in Tesla if you're really feeling adventurous, or, you know, various different stocks. But what I would say is if you're going to invest in individual stocks, make them small percentages of your portfolio. Maybe invest in 20 different individual stocks rather than 2, because this just diversifies your risk. Because if you put it in Tesla and then the stock price of Tesla halves tomorrow for some weird reason, then you've lost all that money. But if it's only a small percentage, then you're not going to lose as much. Of course, this all depends on your reward to risk ratio, like how much. If you risk more, you're going to probably gain more, but long term, do you want to be risking all that kind of money, or do you want it to be like a safe gain? The feature on Trading 212, which I really like, is called the Pie feature. It's quite a new feature. Essentially, it's similar to a fund. So with the S&P 500, there's obviously the 500 biggest companies in America. You can't change those 500 companies. They do change from now again, but you can't change your allocation. What it does is it allows you to slice your pie up. So let's say you're £1,000 up into the companies you want to invest in. So for example, you could put 25% in Google, 25 in Apple, 25 in Tesla, 25 in Amazon, for example. Or you could put 100 different companies at 1% each if you really wanted to. Another great feature is you can also copy what other people have done on Trading 212. For example, there's a pie that gives you almost daily dividends. So every day, almost, you'll receive a dividend from having those shares in those companies in the pie. What I would suggest, if you're just starting to get invested, then you want to reinvest these dividends, because at the moment they might be like something stupid like 1 or 2 or 5p, which you're not going to want in your bank account. But if you reinvest them, it's going to get compounded over time and will grow. So yeah, if you are a complete newbie and you don't want to risk losing any money, I would definitely suggest a fund like the S&P 500, FTSE 100, or split them across a few. Don't go with individual stocks if you're a newbie into investing, because chances are you might lose some money. But like I said, this is all up to just personal preference. Finally, point number 8 is the most important point, is to leave it and not check it regularly. You ask anyone, I am guilty of this. I do like to check it from now and again, but it's exciting, it's thrilling when it's up. It's sad and disheartening when it's gone down. But I will never sell the stuff that's in there. I just look at it for its fun. Yeah. I just look at it because it's fun to see if Donald Trump makes a tweet or something, how that affects the shares I have in a company. But I'm not going to sell it if it's down 40%. Like I think one of my stocks was down like 44% or something, and I left it. I was going to sell it and I left it because I didn't want to sell it, and now it's up to like 20% plus. So if you're investing, please think about investing for the long term, because short term it's just gambling essentially. So yeah, point number 8 is to leave it alone. Check it maybe once a month, once a quarter, once even a year if you want to be really passive from it, and yeah, make sure those monthly deposits are going in. So going back to point 2, which is about active or passive. If you're investing in funds, that's very passive. You don't really have to do it yourself. If you want to invest in these pies or these individual stocks, that's more active, and you might want to be like actively changing your like allocation of the pie. If Tesla's doing really well, you might want to like buy some more Tesla, or for example. But if you want to be purely passive, set, I don't know, 100 quid aside and chuck it in the S&P 500 every month. And on average, you'll get, I don't know, 10% over the next 60 years if history repeats itself. So there we go, guys. That's 8 simple steps to get started investing in 2021. I hope that helps. Any other messages, drop me a message on Instagram and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.